So we start. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinamupamashravassamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anas Brunvanmutibhisadanam Om Shri Mahaganadipataye Namah Om Vrishabham Chashraninam Vishvarupamadaghisham Drihaspatim Varenyam Om Tadvishno Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Soraya Dirivachakshuratatam Om Shlim Shlim Jyotirbrahmaya Namah Om Hare Ramakrishna Hare Ramakrishna Hare Ramakrishna Om Parasharaya Namah Om Parasharaya Namah Om Parasharaya Namah Om Ghanissurya Aditya Om Ghanissurya Aditya Om Ghanissurya Aditya Om.
Actually, the question is, in 2012, while reading some of the online information, so the problem, it can happen somewhere in southeast corner, they say, in the world, if anything can happen. Southeast corner is not good this year, they say. So anything, any astrological relation?
Well, southeast,
Agneya Mula.
I have no reason, I have no idea.
So even if that destruction will happen, if that happens in 2012, it's going to be southeast, that's what they say.
I mean, logically speaking, there are problems in different parts of the world every year basically. There will be the disaster in Japan, there are earthquakes everywhere. So, there are different techniques. See, forget about Vastu. In astrology, there is a chakra called Kurma Chakra. Kurma Chakra is basically you divide the earth. It is mentioned in Rudrayamala and some other old texts. So in Kurma Chakra, you divide the earth into, you basically imagine that there is a giant turtle that is enveloping the earth. So Kurma literally means turtle. So turtle's head is in the east, and then there are two legs which are in the southeast and the northeast, and then like that basically. There is a tail which is in the west, and then the main body is the center. So they divide into 9 parts. East, the 8 directions and the central part. So they divide the geographical region into 9 parts. So this is one normal technique, common technique. Only thing is, whatever is given in Rudrayamala was interpreted by people in a static way. What they always do is, irrespective of any other factors, basically always Ashwini is mapped to this star, Kritika is mapped to this star. So it's basically, it's a fixed mapping. So whenever Saturn is, let's say, transiting in so and so star, then there will be a problem in Gujarat. Basically in India it is the western part. Whenever Saturn is transiting in a star which is showing the south, there will be a problem in southern India. Like that people interpret. But the thing is, first of all, there are 2 problems. One is if people are only looking at India, but the thing is India is not the only country in the world. When in the last few hundred years when people were doing astrology, they were only concerned about India. When you take the whole world, you also need to be able to look at a particular country like US or Kenya or Zimbabwe or France, and then make predictions. In those countries, again then there should be some kind of geographical mapping. So the thing is, this kind of static mapping didn't make sense. So I tried various things, and one thing that actually I wrote an article on this, and I found some interesting correlations relating to earthquakes on the Kurma Chakra. My finding was that you don't take a static mapping. You don't say Kritika is always east, and then Kritika, the next 2 stars, Rohini, Mrugashira, they are basically showing the eastern part of India, and the next 3 stars show the southeast part of India, and so on. You don't do that. What you do is, you take the star containing Lagna in the chart, That's basically the beginning. Lagna shows east. So take the star containing Lagna and the next two
Lagna
stars.
of the country. You mean.
Lagna of their country. But the thing is, I did not experiment with the Indian independence chart. I only experimented with the annual charts, the lunar New Year chart. Specifically, I focused only on the lunar New Year chart. I tried several New Year charts, but for the earthquake, significant correlations were found only when I looked at the lunar New Year chart. I tried solar New Year based on Aries, based on Capricorn, lunar New Year based on full moon, based on new moon. I tried several Ardra Praveshas of sun. Like that, I tried 10 different mundane charts. Out of those, the lunar New Year chart, the standard lunar New Year chart that we use, the Chaitra Shukla Pratipada chart, that seemed to show nice correlations at the times of earthquakes. So my finding was, you can read it on the Jyothishya writings Yahoo group. My findings were, you basically make a lunar New Year chart. This may apply for lunar new month chart also. So either New Year or new month chart. Not for the capital of the country, but for the geographical center of the country. So in the case of India, the geographical, this idea actually originally, see, this guy, Vinay Jha, he also takes the, he has this theory that Meru is the center of the world, and he actually found near the equator, there is a place called Meru. It's still called Meru. There is a Mount Meru in Kenya. So he basically takes the Mount Meru to be the center of the world, and he makes annual charts with that as the center. So the thing is, when I saw that, first I didn't buy it, but the thing is, when I tried it, for India basically, what he takes is a place called Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh, which is very close to Ujjain, but the thing is, in the old days, Ujjain may have been the center, but with Afghanistan and Pakistan giving India, it probably moved a little to the east. It's a little east of the Ujjain. So for India, take Vidisha. For the whole world, take Meru. I gave a few other examples. For Japan, for Turkey, for US, I took a few examples where there were earthquakes in the last few years. I looked at I basically make a chart for the geographical center of the country or the city. You can do that for city also. City or state, country, any political unit basically, or the whole world. Take a chart, make a chart for the geographical center, and then what you do is take that Lagna, place that Lagna in the east, and then go basically east or middle, I forget. Basically, you can refer to the article. So you basically use the Korma Chakra, but instead of static assignment of stars and the geographical regions, you do it dynamically based on the chart. In each chart, things will be different. And one more thing, this was just my conclusion. This is not really any classic. There are 3 stars assigned to each geographical portion. So basically, I showed a way to further divide. For example, there is the eastern part, let's say, eastern part. You divide that into 3 parts. The nearest to the center, the middle one, and the furthest away from the center. So you do that, basically there is a mapping to the stars. So like that, you take any geographical area, you divide into 27 equal portions, and each will be mapped to 1 star. So whichever, and then I use Sarvabhadra Chakra. In the Sarvabhadra Chakra of that particular lunar New Year chart, whichever star has Vedha from evil planets, the Stanal planets, etc., planets who are badly placed in the chart. Whichever stars have Vedha, you basically look at those geographical regions shown by those stars, there may be a problem there. And then to conclude that it will be an earthquake, I use a few higher divisional charts, D40, D60 I believe I use, and also D30 I think. I found some interesting correlations in those. And the good thing is, D40, D60 etc. are very risky to use in natal charts because we don't know if the timing is accurate enough. But in the case of mundane charts, assuming that our model, planetary model is correct, you can be sure of the D40 and D60 lagnas. So using the D40 and D60 charts, there was some interesting, on D30, there were some interesting correlations in the years when there were earthquakes, which basically showed that particular technique that actually showed the areas, the geographical area where the earthquake actually happened. So it was a statistically significant correlation. I think there were some 10 examples also that I gave. Actually, not just earthquakes. I take it back. I said natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, things like that. So you can refer to that research. So what I think is, when people say this year Agneya will be bad or Nairiti will be bad, I take them with a pinch of salt. The thing is, also in different dashas, there may be problems in different areas. There may be a tsunami in one place in one time, at one time. There may be an earthquake somewhere else some other time. There may be a volcano some other time at some other place, and so on. There may be disasters in many places at times like this. So the best technique I know for that is to use Korma Chakra, Sarvadopata Chakra, and the Lunar New Year chart. What I want to do is, we'll do a little bit of politics. We haven't been doing politics.
The primaries are going on.
Yeah, the primaries have started. So we'll do a little bit of politics.
I've seen your tweet on the 4 different Republicans.
Yeah. Actually, Obama is very... by the way, I'm not 100% sure of Obama chart. I was working on Obama chart, the chart that we were using earlier. I'm not 100% convinced that it is an accurate chart. So I'll leave Obama. But the Mitt Romney chart that I found seems to be quite accurate. I found a chart of Mitt Romney. So we'll look at Mitt Romney chart for the how his future is, whether he can be the president. So just in isolation, without other charts. I have a Gingrich chart, but that's rated D in Lloyd's rating, so it's not really reliable. But Romney chart is A rated, it's supposed to be reliable, and also when I looked at the events, they actually make decent sense. And then I have a chart of John Huntsman, which seems to be, I'm actually convinced that it is also in the right ballpark, but the thing is, he's not really a serious candidate. But he may be doing well in the short run, so we'll probably take a look at him. But we'll mainly focus on Mitt Romney. And the other guy, Rick Santorum, I don't have his chart. And I hope I don't have to look at his chart. So, his data is not known yet. But somebody will pull it off. If he continues to do well, the thing is probably he won't do that well in New Hampshire, but you never know. In South Carolina, going to conservative states, they will need an alternative to Mitt Romney. They may or may not like Mitt Romney. So if they want somebody conservative, the only choices are Perry, Gingrich, and Santorum. So out of these three, if they perceive that Santorum has the best chance of winning, he will suddenly become hard. So hopefully by that time somebody will put up his chart. So I don't know his chart. So we'll do a little bit of political charts. And one technique we'll be using apart from natal chart and Tajaka is Sudarshan Chakra. Like I mentioned some time back, Parasara said that not just using Sudarshan Chakra in general to judge Vinchotri, etc., but Sudarshan Chakra as a technique. Because Parasara said Sudarshan Chakra, especially when combined with Ashtakavarga, is basically the best technique for making predictions in Kali Yuga, daily, monthly and annual predictions. So I don't know if we discussed it in the class, but I did send a detailed article on Sudarshan Chakra some time back, whatever I found. So I'll basically give you a gist. So Sudarshan Chakra, the way you interpret Sudarshan Chakra is, you can use Jagannath Hora to make the Sudarshan Chakra, and then so Sudarshan Chakra is based on progressing Lagna, Moon and Sun, the tripod of life, the three references which show the physical body, the subtle body and the causal body. So those three references are progressed at the rate of one sign per year. So in the divisional chart of interest, whether Rasi or divisional chart of interest, Dashamsa, Navamsa, etc., take the sign containing Lagna, sign containing Moon, sign containing Sun. So the Dasha will be of that sign in the first year of the life. Next year will be second sign from it. Next year will be third sign from it, and so on. So you basically keep going like that. Every 12 years they repeat. But the thing is, the results don't necessarily repeat every 12 years. The reason for that is, this is not judged based on the natal chart. Parasara basically said you judge it based on Varshado, Masado, which means at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. You look at the planetary positions at the beginning and end of the year, and based on that you judge. So, 12 years later, when the same dashas come from Lagna, from Moon and Sun, exactly the same progress sign will return 12 years later or 24 years later. But at that time, the Dasha Pravesh Chakra may be different. So it will basically, it will be different, the result will be different. So what we will do is, what we do, the way we judge it is, when you have three references, Obviously, there are 9 planets, 12 houses with respect to all the 3 references. What you try to do is you try to find something common between them. Like, particularly the ones I mentioned earlier were, if a sign contains its own lord, or if a sign is aspected by its own lord, that's by Grahadrishti, that's very auspicious. That sign becomes powerful. Similarly, if a sign contains exalted planet or is aspected by an exalted planet, or if the lord of a sign is exalted, then also that sign becomes very powerful. And one rule Parasara gave is, if Rahu is in any sign, that becomes weak. But you have to take it with a pinch of salt. It depends on how bad Rahu is in that chart. And similarly, if there are any Rajogas in a sign containing Kendra Kona lords from the progress Lagna, that will be auspicious. So these are the basic thumb rules. And also we mentioned Ashtavarga, but we'll leave Ashtavarga for now. So we'll just use these basic principles and then see what is common. For example, let's say from Lagna, the 5th house contains 5th lord. From Moon, the 5th house is aspected by 5th lord. And from Sun, let's say 5th house has an exalted planet. Then 5th house is strong. So like that, take the houses that are becoming prominent, whether good houses or bad houses. If they are bad houses, there will be bad results. If they are good houses, there will be good results. But see which houses are becoming strong in the Sudarshan Chakra. From the Sudarshan Chakra, there are signs during that year. And then you can basically draw some conclusions based on it.
So your conclusions are drawn based on Lagna, Moon and Sun?
Lagna, Moon and Sun, all the 3. All 3 have to be indicating, the house has to be strong with respect to all of them. Then the results relating to that house will be granted during the year. Okay? Now,
What's the data?
yeah, 1 second. Just give me a second. Huh? Yeah, we are recording. Okay, so we will actually, you know what? I'm not sure if I have it on this computer. Actually, I do. Good, that's good. So I just want to give some predictions on politics because we haven't done politics in a while. The data is March 12, 1947. This is Mitt Romney, the Republican presidential candidate and frontrunner at this point of time, Mitt Romney. 1947, March 12, 9:51 a.m. Detroit, India. Detroit, US. Detroit is in Illinois, right? No, Michigan. Detroit, Michigan, US. The time zone is 5 hours west of GMT, and that is Eastern Standard Time. And the longitude is 83 degree 2 minutes 45 seconds. Latitude is 42 degree 19 minutes 53 seconds. Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. So he is the current frontrunner in the Republican presidential primaries. Let's just do some sanity checking of the chart before we give some predictions. Okay, so first let us look at his career because we are mostly focused on his career. He is a politician. He is a politician, that is one thing. But more than politician, he is basically a capitalist. He used to work at a venture capital firm. He was born in a rich family. His father was a successful politician in Michigan, and he worked at a venture capital firm, and then he started his own venture capital firm called Bain Capital. That was in 1984. In 1978, he joined the consulting firm Bain & Co. And in 1984, he started an offshoot called Bain Capital, a venture capital firm. And there he made a huge fortune. He's a multi-millionaire, and he made all that money buying and selling companies and investing in new startups or big companies, etc. He worked in venture capital firm. He owned a venture capital firm. So this was 1978, career started. 1984, he basically started a firm. And also, when the company was doing badly, the Bain & Co., the original company of which he started an offshore, he returned to that in 1991, and he basically had a great success there. So 91 to a few years was a period of lot of challenges, but coming out very successful. So these are some basic events in the corporate career. And then the public career is he lost an election in 94 to Ted Kennedy. But in 2002 November, I believe, 2002 November. 2002 November, he became Mass Governor, Massachusetts, Governor of the state of Massachusetts, which is a great feat because it used to be like 80% Democratic state, and he was a Republican, and he became the governor, which is really awesome. So 2002 November, he became the Governor of Massachusetts, and 2008 February 7, he conceded the election. He was running for presidential election as a Republican nominee, and he conceded on February 7, 2008. So that was basically a bad day. And right now he's having a great time. He temporarily sank in the opinion polls, but now again he's way up. He has a double-digit lead over the nearest contender, not only in New Hampshire, but the next one, January 21 primary, South Carolina, and even nationwide, he's leading. So let us see his career. The Dashamsha Lagna is Pisces. The reason for check your data. Pisces, we both get Pisces. He got Scorpio, so let him check. By the way, his education is business and law. He studied law and business. So he's basically his background is lawyer and also financier. Okay, so let us look at the Dashamsha Vimshotri Dasha. Okay? So look at Dashamsha Vimshotri Dasha. First of all, can this Dashamsha explain somebody with this kind of career? Can this Dashamsha explain this kind of career? Is he somebody in service or businessman?
Lagna Lord in 7th, he should be.
Lagna Lord and 10th Lord, Jupiter, he is in the 7th house.
Should be a businessman.
Okay? So that can be a...
Could be a businessman.
Yeah, could be a businessman.
Lagna Lord and 7th Lord. Jupiter in 7th.
No,
you are taking Dashamsha, right? Jupiter is in Cancer.
No, you are getting a totally weird chart. Just check your data. March 12, 1947, 9:51 a.m. Detroit. You made some error. Jupiter is in Virgo, not Cancer.
5:09 a.m.
What 5:09 a.m.? 9:51 a.m.
51 a.m.
9:51. But date also check because Jupiter can't be changing Dashamsha by two signs. March 12, 1947.
Okay.
So Jupiter is in Virgo Navamsha, Virgo in Dashamsha. Okay, so Lagna Lord and 10th Lord, Jupiter is in the 7th house, right? So basically that shows a businessman. And secondly, how is Ketu? 10th house contains Ketu, right? If you look at aspects on the 10th house, occupants and aspects. Occupant is Ketu. Ketu is the 9th Lord. So 9th Lord in the 10th house, is it a good placement?
It is a good placement.
It is a very good placement. So 9th Lord Ketu is in the 10th house. And who are aspecting him?
Saturn, Mars,
Yeah. So Saturn is aspecting the 10th house. Saturn is a functional malefic. But the thing is also Mars is aspecting him. And Mars is the 9th Lord. So the other 9th Lord is aspecting the 10th house. So there is a link between the 9th house. Actually Mars is aspecting Jupiter also. So 9th Lord Mars is aspecting 9th house and 9th Lord. And the other 9th Lord is Ketu. So there is a link between the 9th and 10th houses. Right? So that is good. So overall, it shows success. And if you look at the Dashamsha, Jupiter is in Ishanas Dashamsha, but Ketu is in Varna Dashamsha. Ketu is in the Dashamsha of Varna. Okay, Mars also. Mars and Ketu, the 9th lords who are aspecting the 10th house, they are in the Dashamsha of Varna. So that shows business. So
Trading.
Yeah, trading and business. So that is one thing. The other thing is, if you look at the 10th from Sun, how is the 10th from Sun? 10th Lord is in Lagna, in friendly sign, and 10th contains 9th lord. Again 9th lord is in 10th. So that is from Lagna as well as from Sun. So that is an auspicious thing. And if you look at the moon, from moon, Lagna lord is in the 4th house in a quadrant aspecting the 10th house. That is good. And how is the 10th lord? He is not in 9th, but he is in the 7th. So 10th lord is in a quadrant and he is aspecting the Lagna. And Yogakaraka Mars, the 9th lord, he is basically aspecting the 5th house. So overall, from all the three differences, the chart is either the 5th house or 9th house are standing out. So this is basically a fortunate chart of a fortunate career. And if you look at the dashas, how are the dashas? Which dasha gave him lot of success? See, in Moon Mahadasha, based on Vishwatri Dasha, it was the Moon Dasha. When?
74 to 84.
Yeah, 70, yeah. So during that time, he had all this success. And does it make sense? Well, from Sun, Moon is the 9th lord in the 10th house. And from Lagna, he is the 5th lord. So, overall, Moon Dasha is a Dasha of success. He is the 9th lord and 5th lord from two of the references. But the thing is, Mars Dasha is even better. Mars Dasha, if you look at Mars Dasha, it was just before Mars Dasha that he started his form. And it was during Mars Dasha that he made his killing. And why is Mars Dasha so good? From Moon, he is Yogakaraka in the 11th house. Yogakaraka in the 11th house, giving Rajyogas with Saturn and Rahu. 9th lord with the 7th lords. Right? 7th is business, 9th is fortune. So 7th lord and 9th lord together in the 11th house of fructification, gains. That is awesome. That is from Moon. From Lagna,
Is the 9th lord?
he is the 9th lord aspecting 10th house and 10th lord. Right? And joining the 11th lord. So 9th and 11th lord conjoining is good for material things. Secondly, from Sun, he is Lagna lord, but the thing is, he is Lagna lord in the 8th house, which can draw sudden and unexpected gain. Lot of risk taking and also risk taking paying off, because he is a benefic planet. He is Lagna lord. He is slightly benefic. And moreover, he is aspecting the 11th house. So, if you look at, basically he has a link with the 11th house from all the references. From Lagna, he is with the 11th lord and aspecting 11th house. That too with Uchadrushti. By Uchadrushti, what I mean is, if a planet is aspecting a sign where he would be exalted, that Drushti is called Uchadrushti. It's basically auspicious. So, Mars is aspecting the 11th house with Uchadrushti from Lagna. From Sun, he is aspecting the 11th house. From Moon, he is in the 11th house. So he has a strong link with the 11th house from all the references. And he is a benefic planet from all the references. So overall, this is a period of great gain. So Mars period was an awesome period. And how was Rahu period? Rahu, he behaves based on his company. Right? He is a Saturn and Mars here. Is he a benefic or malefic? Rahu is at 5 degree in Gemini, Mars is at 3 degree in Gemini, Saturn is at 17 degree in Gemini. So Rahu is closer to Mars. And Mars is a benefic. So Rahu will act like a benefic. So Rahu is a benefic in the 4th house. Okay. And from Moon he is the 7th lord in the 11th house. From Sun he is the 4th lord in the 8th house. So during the Rahu Dasha, he... Pardon me? He has some setbacks also, because Rahu is
Rahu and Sun Rahu Moon, primarily they don't go well, first of all. So you should expect some setbacks, and with respect to Sun, some...
Yeah. But overall, from Lagna being the 12th lord and also Mars Rahu combination, even though, like I said, being with Mars Rahu becomes a benefit, Mars Rahu combination is not a great combination when it happens very closely. So that is one thing. Their natures are not really conducive, just like Mars Saturn. So that is one thing. And the other thing is, from Sun, he is in the 8th house. 4th lord in the 8th house is not really that good. So overall, Rahu is a mixed planet. He has some blessings, but also he has some negative combinations. Now, the last election in which he failed a bid for the presidential nomination, that was in Rahu Sun, right? And even the first failed bid for Senate position, the one that Ted Kennedy beat him in, that was in Rahu. So in Rahu period, he lost bid for power twice. But the thing is, he became the
Governor of Massachusetts.
he became the governor of Massachusetts.
Rahu Ketu, Rahu Venus.
No, in Rahu, no. 2002 November.
November, sir. Rahu Venus.
Rahu Venus.
Rahu Venus, I got Rahu Mercury.
The 3 degrees rule.
Yeah? What 3 degree rule? You are using, oh sorry, my mistake. I experimented with something and did not change back. Yeah. So it was Rahu, Venus. Okay, that's an interesting one. Why? Why is Rahu Venus good for... Why did the Venus Antardasha give success? Political power. Why did Rahu Venus give political power? Why? Well, from Lagna, Venus is the 8th lord in the 12th house.
That is correct.
So he is giving Viparita Rajoga, and the thing is, there must be some link with the 5th house for a planet to be giving power, and he is aspecting the 5th lord moon.
That's what.
So from Lagna, he is basically giving Viparita Rajoga and aspecting, showing suffering and then success, and he is aspecting the 5th lord. That is one thing. And from Sun,
He is 7th lord.
from Sun he is the 7th lord in a quadrant. He is basically a good planet, but what is the link with the 5th house? What is the link with the 5th house? There has to be, a planet has to have a link with 5th house from all references, or at least 2 of them, in order to give power. Otherwise, the planet cannot give power. Of course, there is one more factor. Taking the Dasha Lord Rahu as Lagna, Venus is 5th lord in the 9th house. So that is awesome. So, that particular Antardasha of Venus in Rahu Mahadasha, he is capable of giving power. But the thing is, it has to make sense from the tripod also. There has to be some significance. Even if it's not very strong, there has to be some link. Otherwise, it's unlikely to give. So what is the link that Venus has to 5th house from Sun? Well, he has a 77% aspect on 5th lord.
On Jupiter, sir.
5th lord Jupiter is in Virgo. If you look at the aspect evaluation, aspect table if you see, Venus has 77% aspect on Jupiter. Okay? Basically 8th house aspect. 3/4 8th house aspect. It's actually exactly 77%. So he has a link with 5th house from Sun also. And from Lagna, like we said, he aspects Moon. Okay? 95% aspect on Moon. That is very full aspect. Then what else? From Moon, does he have any link with the 5th house? Again, it's the same thing. 5th lord. So he is aspecting the 5th lord from all the 3 references. And from the Dasha lord, he is very well placed. He is the 5th lord in the 9th house. So during Venus Antardasha of Rahu Dasha, there can be political power. And moreover, if you see here, 5th, 7th, Lagna lord is in the 7th house. So Dvisaptati Samadasha applies. If you use the Dvisaptati Samadasha, you will actually see that Moon gave the political power. Moon Dasha, Moon Antardasha. And that also makes sense because Moon is the 5th lord from Lagna and 9th lord from Sun. So anyway, so let's move on. How is the time now? Is there a chance of political success or any other success?
Jupiter period, sir.
Jupiter period is running. Jupiter period is running. And the Antardasha is that of
And
Saturn. Okay? So Jupiter Saturn is running right now. Now, is it good or bad?
Lagna lord.
Jupiter is the Lagna lord aspecting Lagna. He is basically a good planet for career, but especially in business and consulting. But does he have any link with the 5th house from Lagna? Is he aspecting 5th house or 5th lord or anything like that? He doesn't really have much to do with 5th house from Lagna. Okay? What about Sun? Well, he is the 5th lord. From Moon, he is the 5th lord. So from Sun and Moon, he is the 5th lord. But from Lagna, he doesn't have much to do with the 5th house. But the thing is, from 2 references, he is actually capable of giving power. And the Saturn Antardasha is running right now. Does Saturn have any link? Well, from Moon, He's the seventh and sixth lord. He's a malefic, but he's aspecting the fifth house. He joins Yogartha and he aspects the fifth house. From Sun again, he aspects the fifth house. Right? From Sun, he is having 10th aspect on the fifth house. So he has Linga, and from Lagna, he is aspecting the fifth lord Moon. Okay?
Since he is retrograde, do you think the power is less for Saturn?
Well, retrograde planets are closer to Earth. They show more material pursuits. So it's not really, I won't hold that against him. So Saturn, this Antardasha that is running right now. See, Jupiter doesn't have a link with power in all the three references. Only two of the three references. So he may or may not give power. But the current Antardasha is, out of this in this Mahadasha, this is one of the better. Moreover, from Jupiter if you see, from Jupiter, Saturn is in the 10th house, he is the fifth lord. Fifth lord in the 10th house. So there is a chance of power during this year.
Actual elections are this year only, 2012.
Yeah, November.
Right.
I mean, we are talking about a big Mahadasha here.
Yes.
Let's look at Tajika. Okay, I have to do something special here. Okay, Rashi. Okay, Tajika. 2011, let's see first. The year running right now. Okay?
Starts from March.
Okay? How is the chart? Dashamsha has, in the Tajika annual chart for 2011-12, Lagna is Taurus, right? And Lagna Lord Venus and fifth Lord Mercury are joined together.
In the 11th house.
In the 11th house.
Venus is
Of course, there is some distance between them, lot of distance, so it's not a very powerful Raj Yoga, but there is a Raj Yoga between Lagna Lord and fifth Lord. Okay? And Sun is aspecting Lagna. Sun is the planet of power, Karaka for power. He's in a trine from Venus and Mercury combination. Okay? And Jupiter, the 8th Lord, is in the 12th house, giving Viparita. So overall, and 10th Lord Rahu is in the 10th house. So this year's chart actually shows being in the limelight, power, being in a good position, etc. It shows a powerful position during this year. Right? And then if you see one sec. If you see the Vimshotri Dasha, D10 Vimshotri Dasha for this year, Mercury Dasha was in the June-July time frame. I'm not sure, but he may have announced his candidacy or seen as a leader at that time. But Venus was August to October. It was during that time that he rose to clear frontrunner and he was at the head of the pack. So all that happened during Venus Dasha. So that was good. And Sun, he shows he's the Karaka for power, aspecting the Lagna. So again, during that time, he held his advantage. And during Moon also, he was doing fine. And in the Mars period, he took a little bit of setback. Mars is, if you see, he's in the 4th house, basically in the 12th from the 5th house of power, of following. And he's with Ketu. So the Mars-Ketu combination, Mars being with Ketu, how far apart are they? They are within 7 degrees, so it's not too far apart. So Mars-Ketu combination was slightly unfavorable. So during this period, he basically took a little bit of beating. After that, right now the period running is that of Rahu. It is a good period or bad period?
It is a good period.
This is an awesome period because Rahu is the 10th Lord in the 10th house. That is from Lagna. From Moon, he is the 8th Lord in 8th house. From Sun, he is the 4th Lord in 4th house. So, based on all the references, Rahu is basically a pretty good dasha. See, from Sun, he aspects the 10th house. From Moon, he aspects the 10th Lord. From Lagna, he is the 10th Lord in the 10th house. So, he has a link with the 10th house in all the references. So, this is basically for career, this is a good period. But how is the next year? So, he will continue to do well. We don't expect him to suddenly go down in the polls. 2012 Tajika chart. Okay? How much leeway do we have? We have enough leeway. 3.5 minutes earlier, 4:43 later. So, let's take this chart. How is this chart? Is there any combination for power? The 5th Lord Sun.
In the 8th house.
He's in the 8th house. Well, he's with the 10th Lord, Saturn. So 5th Lord and 10th Lord are together, but the thing is, how close are they? Saturn is at 7 degree, Sun is at 11 degree. So they are actually close. There is a Raj Yoga. But the thing is, this is happening in the 8th house. And moreover, Sun and Saturn are not exactly friends. So the Raj Yoga between them may or may not be powerful, especially happening in the 8th house. So there is some weakness. This is not really very auspicious. And then, apart from the 5th house, what are the important houses? The 10th house. The 10th house contains
Mars and Mercury.
Mars and Mercury combination.
Mars
Is it a good combination or bad combination? Well, Mars is Lagna Lord, Mercury is 6th Lord.
Yeah.
So it's basically a Duryoga. On the other hand, Mars is also the 8th Lord. So 8th Lord and 6th Lord together is a good yoga, but not in a quadrant. If it happens in a sthana, then it's a good combination. So overall, this combination between Mercury and Mars is not really very auspicious. And they are within 6 degrees. So they are reasonably close. So 10th house has a negative combination and the 8th house has a negative combination. Okay. So overall, there aren't clear combinations that show. For example, last year if you see Lagna Lord and 5th Lord together in the 11th house, aspecting the 5th house, that is a clear combination for being in a powerful position. Here there is actually some powerful position is given by some Saturn combination, the Lagna, 10th Lord and 5th Lord combination. But the thing is, there is a lot of negativity also. So this seems like the chart of somebody who will be in the limelight but later fade from the limelight, have a fall. So based on this chart, my guess is that he will actually lose the elections. But let us see. My guess is that he will actually be the nominee. Even though he is the leader in Iowa and New Hampshire, his numbers are not really shooting to 50%. They are still in the 30%, 35% range. So the thing is, the problem at this point of time is Perry, Gingrich and who's the other guy? Santorum. There are 3 conservative candidates versus Romney, who's seen as a moderate candidate, pretending to be a conservative candidate, pretending to be everything. So conservatives who don't like him, who want a genuine, authentic conservative, they have 3 choices. So vote is split at this point of time. So after South Carolina or Florida, if basically the conservative vote coalesces around 1%, let's say Santorum or Gingrich, then basically Romney can get in trouble. So if this drags on for a couple of months, comes to, for example, Super Tuesday on March 6th, there is a chance that Romney may suddenly start to go back. But the thing is, looking at the combinations here, he will be in the limelight. So he will, and also till March 12, basically the time is good. Super Tuesday time is good because that was Rahu Dasya based on current year. So Super Tuesday time is very good for him. So very likely Romney will clinch the nomination, but he will actually, let's look at the Dasha by the way. When are the Dashas? Elections are during Mercury Dasha. That's okay, that's good. Good meaning, he is afflicting the Lagna Lord in the 10th house and he is a malefic. He is a functional malefic. And from Sun if you see, from Surya Lagna, Lagna Lord Mars is afflicted by functional malefic Mercury, 8th Lord Mercury. So either 6th Lord or 8th Lord afflicting Lagna Lord. So that is from Lagna as well as from Moon as well as from Sun. So all the 3 references, Mercury is a bad planet. So Mercury Dasha, basically just before the elections, this Dasha starts. So this Dasha is not really conducive to winning the elections. So Romney is most likely going to be the nominee and he is most likely going to lose. Now let us look at Sudarshan Chakra Dasha. Because that is really the technique that Parashara recommended. And in my experience also, that is the Dasha, this is the technique that you can basically rely on.
One more thing is, we see 5th house for huge following, and also 6th house is, 6th Lord is, strength-wise, when 6th house means enemies are getting crushed or something else.
No, 6th house shows
this person's enemies, right? If they are in...
Yeah, 6th house, see 6th Lord, you are right, if the 6th Lord is weak, it may show that the enemies are getting crushed. But the thing is here, 6th Lord is afflicting the Lagna Lord. So,
Lagna Lord should be stronger than...
Yes, but he is exalted and he is retrograde. Whereas Mercury is in a friendly sign.
And secondly, whenever the enemy is with you, he is trying to bother you every time.
Yeah.
That's what is happening. Even though who wins or who loses, he has it.
Okay, let us do one thing now. Okay, let us quickly look at what I want to do is quickly look at the Sudarshan Chakra of Dashamsa for 2002 when he became president. Governor of Mass. So make the Sudarshan Chakra of D10 and keep clicking next, the greater than symbol there, less than vertical line and greater than, right? So go to the next 12 years and so on. So go to 2002. 2002 March 12, the Libra, Pisces, Gemini that has started. The progress Lagna was in Libra, progress Moon was in Pisces, progress Sun was in Gemini, right? So during this year, he became and make the Dasha Pravesh Chakra, the Dashamsha of the Dasha Pravesh Chakra. It should be on 2002 March 12, 3:24:17 p.m. So Lagna, the progress Lagna is in Libra, right? Right?
Yes, sir.
So from the progress Lagna is the fifth house strong, blessed. Some kind of power came that year, becoming the governor. So fifth house has to be powerful. How is the fifth house?
We are looking at that in the
Dasha Chakra only.
Sapravesh Chakra.
So fifth house is empty, right?
Yes, sir.
The Lord Saturn is in Taurus. Right?
Yes, sir.
Saturn, see, fifth Lord is joining ninth Lord. Saturn and Mercury, the fifth Lord and eighth Lord ninth Lord are joining. That's a good combination. And both of them are in friendly sign. Not only friendly, Adhimitra Rasi. Super friendly sign. More than that, Saturn is aspecting fifth house. Saturn has 10th aspect, right?
Yeah.
Right? So Saturn in Taurus has an aspect on Aquarius. So fifth house is strong from Lagna. Like I said earlier, Lord occupying a sign, Lord aspecting a sign, or Lord exalted, or exalted planet occupying a sign, these are all auspicious things.
But isn't it happening in the 8th house?
No, the Lord, I'm talking, see, okay, if you talk about that, then you have to look at 8th house from all the three references. What I'm doing is, first see if the 5th house is strong from all the three references for power to come. So, 5th house from Lagna, progress Lagna is aspected by his Lord, and take the next thing is, take progress Moon Pisces. Progress Moon is in Pisces, right? The 5th house doesn't have any
Planets in there.
it doesn't have any planets, it has no aspects, no significant aspects. And its Lord Moon, he is in a quadrant, he is afflicted by Rahu. So fifth house is not powerful from Moon. But the thing is, Lagna is powerful. First house has an exalted planet. Okay, so first house has an exalted planet from progress Moon. From Lagna also, first house is Libra, its Lord is exalted. So far from Lagna and Moon, fifth house is good only from one reference, but Lagna is good from two references.
Right, sir.
And take from Sun now. Progress Sun is in Gemini, right? From Gemini if you see, Lagna is okay. Lagna has Moon and Rahu, his Lord is in the 12th house in a friendly sign. He is okay. Is nothing really abstract thing. But the fifth Lord is exalted.
Blood is exalted.
So the thing is, if you look at all these, so like this if you see 8th house you said, right? If you take the 8th house from Gemini, there's nothing special about it.
Right.
It's not really standing out. So if you take the 8th house from the other one, the Pisces, again there's nothing really, actually their 8th Lord is exalted. So like this you see, pay attention to planets aspecting their own sign, planets in their own sign, exalted planets, and see which are the houses that are being triggered by that. So when you see this, from two of the three references, Lagna and fifth house are being activated. So the thing is, there is a chance of power during the year. Right? And if you look at 2008 for example, the year when he had a disappointment, 2008, 2007, 2008, right? Because it was before March 12. It was in February that he dropped out. So, if you make the entry chart.
There is one code.
No. Pisces, Leo, Scorpio.
Pisces, Leo, Scorpio.
2007, 2008. That is when he dropped out. Okay? So, if you see this chart, So from Pisces, how is the fifth house? Is there anything special about fifth house? Not really.
Not really.
From Leo, how is there anything special about fifth house? Yes. The fifth lord is aspecting fifth house, Jupiter. From Scorpio, nothing really. Okay. So only one reference basically, fifth lord is, fifth house is standing out. Okay. So you don't really see much power during this year. As a matter of fact, even when he was running, he wasn't really
Popular.
he wasn't really like number one, or he wasn't the front runner. He just ran basically. People never connected with him. Huckabee actually ran away with the conservative vote, but Fred Thompson split the vote from him. That is why McCain basically won. McCain and Romney were seen as the moderates, and Fred Thompson and Huckabee as the conservatives. And Romney couldn't take away enough votes from McCain, and Thompson took away enough votes from Huckabee. So basically, finally McCain was nominated. So apart from it, are there any, if you look at everything, is there any other house that is really standing out? Any particular house that is standing out? Like the Lord aspecting the house, things like that. Not really. So basically, there is nothing really special showing up in this Dashansha. Whereas in the last year's chart, we saw that Lagna and fifth house were being triggered, right? Now, I just want to illustrate one thing. So for Antardashas, if you say that Antardasha starts from the Dasha sign and then go through the 12 signs, and the standard interpretation is, as given in the software, you basically, if the Dasha is, let's say, Pisces, what is it? Pisces, Leo, Scorpio, Antardashas will be Pisces, Leo, Scorpio. You basically use the Antardasha, the positions of planets at the beginning of the Antardasha. If you do that, if that's what you do, basically the first Antardasha and the Mahadasha are always, they will have the same reading basically. Whatever you are saying for Mahadasha will apply for the first Antardasha. So, and the thing is that doesn't seem to work in practice. So my conclusion was, after some digging deep into it, one thought that came, when I tested it, that actually seemed to work. So I'm not 100% convinced, but that seems to be the best that I can do with the Antardashas. My approach is for Antardashas, you basically judge the same way. You take the Antardasha Pravesh Chakra, you see the planets, but to find the Antardasha signs, I don't go from the Dasha sign itself. What I do is, in the Dasha Pravesh Chakra, see where Lagna, Moon and Sun are, and progress from there. So I'll give you an example. So in this same Dasha Pravesh Chakra, right? Pisces, Leo, Scorpio, Dasha Pravesh Chakra. Where are Lagna, Moon and Sun in this chart?
Lagna is in the...
Lagna is in Aquarius.
Moon is in Aries.
Moon is in Aries.
And
Sun is in Scorpio. So Aquarius, Aries and Scorpio. These are the seeds for the Antardashas.
Okay.
So you basically start the Antardashas from the signs occupied by progress, the actual Lagna, Moon and Sun in the Dasha Pravesh Chakra. Same for Prachanda Dasha. You take the Antardasha Pravesh Chakra, in that see where Lagna, Moon and Sun are, start from there and go 12 signs. So this is practically like from the natal Dasha, natal chart, you found the Dashas. And then you basically go to the Dasha Pravesh Chakra, you judge them, and then there you find Lagna, Moon, Sun, you see, you progress them during the year, and then take Dasha Pravesh Chakra again, so keep going like that. So this approach actually seemed to work in 90% cases that I looked at. So same, every other principle is the same, just the calculation is different. So whatever the software shows is based on natal chart, so you'll have to modify it. So if we want to see, for example, Aquarius, Aries and Scorpio, remember that, okay? Those are the seeds. So if you see, for example, when he dropped out of the race, that was the 2008 February 7. So that was 11th Antardasha. If you see here, 2008 January 12 to February 11, okay? It shows Cancer, Virgo, Aries, but not necessarily. Ignore that. It will be the 11th from Aquarius, Aries and Scorpio. So that will be Sagittarius, Aquarius,
and
Virgo.
Virgo.
Sagittarius, Aquarius and Virgo. So take those three as the references and judge this particular chart. So what did we say? Sagittarius, Aquarius and
Virgo.
Virgo. Sagittarius, Aquarius and Virgo. Okay. Sagittarius, Aquarius and Virgo. Are there any interesting combinations with respect to those? First of all, take from Sagittarius. From Sagittarius, is there any, how is the fifth house?
Fifth Lord is in Lagna.
Yeah. Fifth Lord is in Lagna. Huh?
No,
No.
Lord and Jesus.
No.
Sagittarius.
From Sagittarius. Saturn is in Sagittarius, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Fifth house contains?
The Lagna Lord
Yeah.
with Rahu.
Uh-huh.
Ninth Lord is also aspecting that fifth house. Lord.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Are there any interesting combinations here? Any planet really strong or own sign or exalted? See, in the absence of that, just take the Chandra, Chandala and Guru Chandala yogas. Basically, Parasara said any house Rahu occupies will be destroyed, right? Now the thing is, like I said, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. It depends on how good Rahu is, whether he is his friends or enemies. Is it like Mars Rahu or is it like Saturn Rahu? Here, Jupiter and Rahu are together. So that is not a good combination, Guru Chandala yoga, right? So Guru Chandala yoga is in the fifth house. And moreover, the eighth lord moon, their dispositor Mars is in eighth house. Guru Chandala yoga is in the fifth house of power. Its lord is in the eighth house, Mars. And eighth lord moon is aspected by them. Moon is in Samasartaka with the Guru Chandala yoga, okay? So there is, fifth house has a strong link to Guru Chandala and the eighth house. Lord in the eighth lord aspecting it and Guru Chandala in it. So that basically there is a link between fifth and eighth and also there is a bad combination. Now if you see from Aquarius, right, fifth lord is okay, he is in a friendly sign. And fifth is not aspected by any bad planets, aspected by Saturn who is not bad, right? So fifth is okay, but eighth house is terrible because eighth lord is in Lagna, that is inauspicious, and moreover sun is in the eighth house, that's Maraka. Seventh lord is in the eighth house, right? So seventh lord being in the eighth house is not really auspicious. Now, if you see from Virgo, the last one, right? If you see from Virgo, again, there is nothing really standing out about the fifth house, but Guru Chandala yoga in the eighth house. Earlier there was Guru Chandala and eighth house link from Lagna, if you remember, right? Eighth lord was aspected by Guru Chandala. Here Guru Chandala yoga is in the eighth house and they are aspected in the fifth lord Saturn. Guru Chandala yoga, Rahu and Jupiter, they are aspecting the fifth lord. Okay. Moreover, here also seventh lord is in the eighth house. Just like from Aquarius, seventh lord in the eighth house, here also seventh lord is in the eighth house, but worse here because Sun is alone. Here he is with Rahu. So basically seventh lord in eighth, Guru Chandala yoga linked with eighth house, Guru Chandala yoga linked with fifth house. There are some common combinations between either two or all the three differences. So this shows during this month there will be setback.
Some kind of eighth house. Some
kind of giving up or loss or retirement kind of thing in the career. In a very bad situation. In a very unfortunate situation. That is what Rahu Guru combination shows. Okay. So this is basically the approach. This is how you find the Antardashas. You can do the Pratyantardashas also. And the thing is, as long as the chart is accurate, one thing you have to keep in mind is the Lagna in the Dasha Pravesh Chakra may be on the border. The Lagna in the Dashamsha may not be on the border, but in the Dasha Pravesh Chakra it may be on the border. In which case, you cannot relax. You see what I am saying? So, pay attention to that. Except that, basically this technique works 80-90% of the time. Only thing is, you won't get crystal clear readings like, this will happen, this won't happen. But the thing is, if something important is happening, there has to be a corresponding indication in two of the three differences. Two or all the three differences. Okay? So, pay attention to this. And if you combine with Ashtavaga, Parasara said this is unbeatable, but we haven't fully figured out Ashtavaga. We have only partially figured it out. So I don't want to focus it in the class. I wrote it in the article, but I won't focus on it in the class because it's not reliable. Just this is good enough. Now, let us see how the guy is doing now. Mr. Ramni.
Which is
2011, 2012. The current year. Cancer, Sagittarius, Pisces. Make the Dasha Pravesh Chakra. How is this year? Cancer. Lagna contains Lagna Lord. Awesome.
right.
Fifth house. Lord aspects it. Awesome. And sun, basically, sun is in a friendly sign, he's auspicious. He's the karka for power, so sun in 5th house is always auspicious. And 5th Lord Mars is aspecting 5th house, right?
Yes.
From Cancer. Moreover, 9th house contains an exalted planet.
Venus too.
Exalted planet. So 9th, Lagna, 5th and 9th, all the three trines are awesome. Now Sagittarius. From Sagittarius,
Right.
are there any interesting links?
Lagna Lord in 5th.
Yeah, Lagna Lord is in the 5th house, is in a friendly sign, but nothing really very special about the 5th house. But see, 5th Lord is in an Ajmitra Rasi, Mars is in an Ajmitra Rasi, 5th Lord, and 5th contains a planet in friendly sign. Basically, trine lords in trine, Lagna Lord in 5th, 5th Lord in 9, that is all good, but the thing is nothing really outstanding, right?
With respect to sign.
But from
Lord
moon,
in 9th, right?
what?
From Sagittarius,
Yeah,
Mars is
yeah, 5th Lord in 9, and Lagna Lord in 5th.
right.
And both in friendly signs. That is good. That is very good. But the thing is, it's not like somebody is in own sign or exaltation sign or aspecting own sign or anything. Okay? But what about
Pisces.
the third one? Actually, one second. Are there any other houses that are standing out with respect to this? Well, the 11th Lord is exalted. 11th Lord Venus is exalted. 6th Lord and 11th Lord is exalted. 8th Lord in 8th house. So that is also standing out. But from Cancer, 8th house, from Cancer also, 8th Lord is in the 8th house.
Right.
So 8th house is also strong. Okay, let's keep that in mind. So a lot of struggle, lot of fight. But 11th Lord from Cancer is also exalted. So 11th Lord from both Cancer and Sagittarius is exalted. So keep that in mind. And now come to Pisces. From Pisces, how are things? Again, Lagna contains an exalted planet. See, from Cancer, Lagna had a planet in own sign. So from two references, Lagna is powerful. That means this is a good year in career. Lagna being powerful meaning overall the year will be good in career. Now, what are the other houses that are standing out? 12th Lord in the 12th house,
Fifth Lord in
5th Lord in 5th. So, in the other, from Cancer, 5th was aspected by 5th Lord. From Pisces, 5th Lord is in 5th house. So 5th is powerful from two references. Even from the third, it contained a good planet. Jupiter was there and this Lord was in a trine. So overall, the 5th house of popularity, fame, success, etc. is powerful during the year. So this is actually a very good year for him. Now before we delve into the next one or 2 months in the Antardesha Pravesh Chakras, let's go to the next year. Let's basically see how the next year is. So this is Leo Capricorn idea.
This is only up to till
March 12.
March 12.
Yeah.
So it's only that only one primary.
Primaries.
Yeah.
This is the time when primaries may either get sealed or he may be a clear front runner. So let's see the next year. 2012, March 12. Leo Capricorn Aries. In the Leo Capricorn Aries period, how are things? Okay, from Leo,
6th house is gone.
6th house contains Kodan Rahu. It contains Rahu. Okay? And there are no other interesting factors about 6th house. So it's not really that good. Rahu in a Jupiter sign is not really that powerful. So Rahu there is not really good. So 5th house is not that good. Okay? Is Lagna good? Well, Lagna Lord is in a friendly sign, Ajmitra Rasi, but he is with an enemy. He is with the 6th Lord. So it's not really that awesome. So Lagna is also not great and it contains a malefic Venus in a inimical sign. So Lagna is not that powerful. 5th house is not. 5th house is also beaten down. 5th Lord Jupiter is not really rescuing it. He has a 3/4 aspect on it, but not really a full aspect, and he is in a inimical sign too. He is not in a friendly sign. So 5th house is not that strong, but that is only from Lagna. Let's see Capricorn. From Capricorn, how is the 5th house? The 5th Lord, Venus, he is in 8th house.
8th house.
And 5th contains aspects from 8th Lord Sun. So 5th has a link with the 8th house. Okay? Right? Then from Aries, the 5th Lord Sun is in 8th house.
Once again, the older 5-8 combination is coming.
Yeah. So, see, earlier also had a link with 5th and 8th when he dropped out. So this year's chart is actually looking kind of like that. It's basically a year of setback in career. Losing the bit for power again. So, I mean, with this chart, I will not be surprised if Romney does well during the primaries and maybe even become the nominee. But I can't really expect him to be the president at all. nominee cannot win presidency in 2012 November. He will lose. Either he may, if the primaries actually drag on, if primaries don't get over on Super Tuesday, on March 6th, if they drag on after March 12th, there is a chance of actually even the nomination slipping from him, because this year it doesn't really have any redeeming factors for the fifth house. So if the nomination drags on, like it happened in the case of Obama and Clinton in 2008, if it goes on till May, June, there is a chance that he may even lose. Okay. So he will either, so that's the basic prediction. He will either clinch the nomination before, either clinch or almost clinch, basically unassailable lead before March 12 and then become the nominee and then lose the elections, or he will just not even be the presidential nominee from the Republican Party. That's my expectation based on this. And how are the next few days or few weeks? Basically the thing is, some pundits are saying that it's over, like, because he has 15% or whatever lead nationally in the national opinion polls, and then of course these numbers have gone up and down, so pundits should know better. This year is, unlike every year, this year people are still making up their mind. Bottom line is, there was one opinion poll on Fox News which said, is it too late for somebody to come at this time? Of course, usually it doesn't happen. I don't think it will happen, because in some primaries you can't even get your name now because it's too late to enter your name, to get enough signatures, and deadlines are over. But the thing is, just for fun, they had an opinion poll saying, is this too late? Should somebody come in at this point of time? 43% people, that was the biggest number. They said, yes, because I'm not happy with any of the nominees. And then 40% people said it's too late.
He wants the New Jersey governor to come in.
Chris Christie, yeah.
That's
He would have
what he
actually,
wanted, but he doesn't want it to come in.
Tim Pawlenty dropped out at a wrong time. He would have actually done well had he just stuck in, just like English jail. English, when his staffers left, he would have left, but he didn't. If Tim Pawlenty was there, he would have done well. Chris Christie would have done well. Jeb Bush, maybe, though he has the Bush baggage, maybe he's an articulate guy. Jeb Bush would have done well. And I forget the name, there's somebody from Florida. He would have done well. There are a bunch of people. Even Sarah Palin actually would have done really well, because conservatives would have coalesced around her. So the thing is,
But they don't want to come in against
No.
Obama,
Yeah.
Because all these top guns, they'll come the next election.
they want to come for the next
Because
election.
they don't
Exactly.
want to waste it now.
Exactly, they don't want to waste their energy. Exactly. So, so the thing is, bottom line is, people are not really happy. They are not excited. So even though the pundits are saying, oh, it's over. In South Carolina, he has 20% lead. New Hampshire, he has 15% lead. So he will basically win these two, and then he will seal the nomination. But the thing is, let's see if that's what our expectation is based on chart. So 2011, 2012 chart again. Okay. In the Dasha Pravesh Chakra, note the positions of luminaries and Lagna. Lagna is in Taurus, Moon is in Cancer. This is the actual Lagna, not the progress Lagna. Taurus, Cancer and Scorpio. Okay, remember that. Taurus, Cancer, Scorpio. So these are the three signs from which we will be progressing. So let's see how is the previous period. I mean current period till January 13. This is the 10th Antardasha, right? Taurus, Gemini as the software show.
Right.
This is the 10th one. So taking the 10th from Taurus, Cancer and Scorpio, right? That's what we found. So that the 10th house is Aquarius, Aries, Leo. So Aquarius, Aries and Leo. So that is the Antardasha running right now in the current Mahadasha. Aquarius, Aries and Leo. So how is the current period? From Aquarius, right? The 9th house contains exalted Saturn, Lagna Lord, and 9th Lord is exalted, even though in the 8th house. So 9th house is very powerful from Aquarius, okay? From Leo, 9th house contains
The Lagna Lord.
Lagna Lord, but exalted Lagna Lord. See, same thing with Aquarius, Lagna Lord in 9th house exalted. Same thing with Leo, Lagna Lord in 9th house exalted. Which shows?
Ninth.
Fortune. 9th house is fortune and blessings from God, things that come easily. So, and the thing is, and what is the other thing? From both, the 8th house also is strong. In one case, 8th house contains 3 planets, in the other case, 8th house is aspected by 3 planets, one exalted and one debilitated planet. So that shows a lot of ups and downs and a lot of tension. So during this period, he actually went down in the poll numbers also. He was not number one for a while. Gingrich was actually the leader until he committed suicide, political suicide by babbling whatever came to his mouth. So
He lost it. They didn't even nominate him in 10,000 votes in Virginia at all. So
Yeah,
zero.
yeah.
So he couldn't be on the ballot at all.
yeah, but that's not a big deal. That's not a big factor. But the fact that he's going down in the numbers is a big deal. Now, the other thing is, okay, from Aries, how is the fifth house? Again, fifth lord is exalted in Lagna, right?
Yes.
And see, so Lagna is associated with an exalted planet from all the three references. Lagna is associated with exalted planet, which is a good year. Ninth house, and from Aries, is the ninth house strong? Well, ninth lord aspects ninth house. Jupiter is in Gemini aspecting Sagittarius. So, in one case, ninth lord aspects ninth, in the other, ninth has exalted planet and ninth lord is exalted. In the other, ninth contains an exalted planet, a good planet that too. So, all the cases, Lagna and ninth are really standing out, and in some cases, fifth is also standing out. So, overall, this is a very good month. This is an awesome month for him. So, this is the month in which he came back from behind. Whatever lead he lost, he regained it, and then he's cruising. It almost seems as though he's coronated. Some political pundits actually, if you read the commentary, they are saying as though he's already coronated. He's the nominee, even though only one caucus, not even primary, is over, and he just won by 7 votes or 8 votes. And they're saying there was some miscounting. He may have actually lost. But the thing is, pundits are already claiming that he's the nominee. So that is not surprising. All this position was obtained because of this powerful month. How is the next month? So for that, the 11th house has to be taken, right? So 11th house from Taurus, Cancer, Scorpio will be Pisces, Taurus and Virgo, right? So make the Dasha Pravesh Chakra, Antardasha Pravesh Chakra on January 12, 2012 and take the signs of Pisces, Taurus and Virgo. Is everybody able to understand why? Okay, this is progress, 11th house from the signs occupied by Lagna, Moon and Sun in the Dasha Pravesh Chakra, which are Taurus, Cancer and Scorpio. Taking the 11th house, because this is the 11th month in the year, we get Pisces, Taurus, Virgo. Pisces, Taurus, Virgo. And make the Dasha, Antardasha Pravesh Chakra. So, how is this? What are the planets that really stand out? One thing is Moon Rahu combination is a bad combination.
Yes.
The other is Sagittarius is aspected by its lord. Capricorn is aspected by its lord, Saturn. And Mars is aspecting Scorpio. So Scorpio, Capricorn and Sagittarius. These three signs are aspected by their lords. And then Taurus and Libra are having exalted lord. And Pisces is containing an exalted planet. So these are really standing out. And let's parse the things. So from Pisces, by the way, from Pisces, the fifth lord is aspecting fifth house. But, right, from Pisces, Lagna contains an exalted planet, but the fifth is also aspected by fifth lord moon. But fifth lord moon is with Rahu. He is afflicted by Rahu. There is a Chandra Chandala Yoga. Okay, so there is something undesirable, but there is aspect. Now from Taurus, the fifth house is aspected by an exalted planet, Venus. But the fifth lord is in the 12th house. And even from the fifth, taking fifth as Lagna, 12th lord is in that sign. So there is something undesirable, but fifth is basically strong. And from Virgo, the fifth lord is aspecting fifth house, Saturn. Right? But there is a Chandra Chandala Yoga there. Moon Rahu combination in the fifth house. So overall, there are mixed, who are the markers from that sign. Taking the fifth house as Lagna, they are the second and seventh lords in that house. So, from all the three references, the fifth house is really strong, but there is something undesirable. So the thing is, he will continue to be a leader, but he may not be able to close it out. People expect him to close it out after South Carolina, January 21. By the end of January, it will be done. Or maybe at worst by Florida. But the thing is, this may actually drag on. In February, there are a bunch of interesting primaries. It may actually go to those. So that is what this chart is showing. So he will, but the thing is, do we expect, based on this, do we expect that during the next 1 month, he will lose the lead and drop down? Just like, for example, other people did in the past, Rick Perry, Michelle Bachmann, Newt Gingrich, etc. Unlikely. Unlikely. He will probably
There is no
Because-
eighth house.
Huh?
There is no eighth house involvement.
Eighth house is not that strong.
Strong.
Eighth house from Pisces contains, eighth lord from Pisces is exalted, but from Virgo, eighth house is not really standing out. And from Taurus, again, Taurus also eighth lord is aspecting eighth house. But the thing is, given that fifth house is even stronger, the bottom line is he will continue to be, my guess is that he will continue to be a leader, but he will have some troubles to overcome. It will not be smooth ride. He will have to campaign, he will have to go and slog it out. So he will be slogging, but he will be ahead. So that's basically the summary that I will put. And how is the month after that? February 11 to March 12. So this will be Taurus, Gemini and Libra. Sorry, Aries, Gemini and Libra. The Antardasha of Aries, Gemini, Libra cast on 2012 February 11, 10:39:21 a.m. So how is this? Taking Aries as Lagna, Lagna Lord is in Lagna. Okay? And how is the fifth house? Is there anything good about it? Not really.
No.
Fifth Lord is okay, he's okay, 50 is affected by Venus, nothing great. But Lagna is powerful, okay? And 9th, 10th, not really. 10th house has Rahu, not great. But it's aspected by an exalted planet. And its Lord aspects it. Oh, we forgot that. So 10th house is aspected by its Lord Saturn and also an exalted planet, but Rahu is there. But Lagna is very powerful. From Gemini, its Lord is debilitated, but it contains Sun. But that Sun is not really in a friendly sign, so it's okay, average. So Lagna is not that powerful. And 10th house, its Lord is exalted. Even though it has a debilitated planet, its Lord is exalted and aspects it. So that is very, very nice. So 10th house is strong both the ways, two ways. But how about 5th house? Nothing great about it. Its Lord is in a friendly sign, but nothing great about 5th house, okay? 5th house is not that strong, but 10th is strong. Now from the last one is Taurus. From Taurus, the 5th house is, nothing really stands out about the 5th house, but, and Lagna also nothing really stands out, but 10th house is strong. And 10th house is containing an exalted planet. So, overall, looking at all these, and 8th house is not really dominating with respect to any of them. So, we don't really, there aren't any significant afflictions to the 8th house. So, it doesn't seem like he will be losing ground during this period. But the thing is, 10th house is a strong one, 5th house is not really that strong. So 10th house shows the work that you are doing and the effort that you are putting relating to your career. But the thing is, it's not showing popularity. 5th house is the house of popularity. So actually, during the next month, he will continue to be the leader, continue to be popular, but still not able to close. But after February 12 and after February 12 to March 12, he may even lose ground. There is a possibility that he will actually lose ground during that period. Because his house shows the ground that you have, the popularity you have with respect to others. So he may not, his popularity may be actually going down in that period. But the thing is, 10th house is strong, so it's not like he's dropped out or somebody else closes the deal. So my gut feeling is, based on this, without having the other chart, just based on one chart, my gut feeling is that my calculation is that he will do well for the next 1 month, but not able to close. After that, he will start to, some contender will emerge and it will be neck to neck, he will be fighting it out. He may not even be the front runner come March, after March 12, second half of March and April, he may actually, February, second half of February and March, by the time of the Super Tuesday, he may not even be front runner. There may be another front runner, or he may be neck to neck with somebody else, a clear conservative front runner, maybe Gingrich or Santorum or somebody, Jerry, whoever, God knows. Gosh.
No pity.
Actually, all of them, let's not make political comments. God bless America. So, he may be duking it out with somebody else and it may really get tough, ugly during that time. And then, after March 12, when the new year starts, after his birthday, either he will clinch the nomination and lose in the actual election, or may even lose the nomination. So that is my expectation. Now let's see tomorrow. The New Hampshire primary, our New England primary. Is anybody here voting in New Hampshire?
Yeah.
You are in New Hampshire, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's see the monthly chart now, right? 2011 December 14, the Taurus Gemini AD, right? Make the Antardasha Pravesh Chakra. In that chart, Lagna is in Gemini, Sun is in Aries, Moon is in Virgo. So Aries, Gemini, Virgo. These are the three signs. Aries, Gemini, Virgo, right? Aries, Gemini, Virgo. Remember them. They are the seeds for the Pratyanta Dashas. And which Pratyanta Dasha is running right now? January 10, 1:26 p.m., basically around 1 p.m. till January 13 midnight, it is the last Pratyanta Dasha. So in this Antardasha, it will be the last Pratyanta Dasha. So it shows CPGG, that's what the software shows, but ignore it. Make the entry chart of this period, keep it aside. You have to judge it from, what were the signs we noted? Aries, Gemini,
and
Virgo, right? Virgo. Just somebody check. Aries, Gemini, Virgo. So the 12th from it, Aries, Gemini, Virgo, the 12th from it will be Pisces, Taurus, Leo.
Aries, Gemini, Virgo.
Yeah. So Pisces, Taurus, Leo. These are the 12th house. So the current Pratyanta Dasha running, actually not current, but tomorrow. The Pratyanta Dasha that starts tomorrow afternoon, when the New Hampshire primary results will come actually. So this is, what did I say? This is Pisces, Taurus, Leo.
Yeah. 12 from Aries, Gemini and Virgo.
Yeah. So how is from Pisces, right? Lagna contains a debilitated planet. Okay? And Lagna Lord is not really that strong. So Lagna contains a debilitated planet, but 5th house contains Moon, but with Ketu. Okay, 5th Lord is in the 5th house, so 5th is powerful, but there is Rahu Ketu affliction. So that is one thing. So 5th house is good but qualified, and Lagna is weak. From Taurus, is the 5th house strong? Well, his Lord is debilitated, but he is aspecting the 5th house.
Correct.
So 5th Lord is aspecting 5th house. So from two differences, 5th is either aspected or occupied by 5th Lord. Now last one, Leo, right? Did we say Leo?
Yes.
From Leo, Lagna is strong. So whatever we said about Lagna being weak earlier, ignore it, because now
Lagna.
from Taurus, Lagna was average. From Leo, Lagna is good. So there is nothing special about Lagna. There is nothing common between all the three. But 5th house, aspected by 5th Lord. Are there any qualifications here? Not really. There is no qualification. I mean, 5th house is aspected by Jupiter. That's it. It's strong. It's also aspected by Mars, who is a Yokarka for Leo. So 5th house is very powerful here. But the other two references, it has some qualifications. It has some negative thing. So overall, things are positive. 5th house is strong with respect to all these. So my conclusion is, he will actually win New Hampshire. He will win with a good margin, a decent margin. He will win, even though there is talk of, like, for example, Santram was way behind him, but in the last 2-3 days he just caught up. So they are talking about maybe he will repeat it here. It's unlikely, because the anti-Romney vote will be split across different people. People who want libertarian kind of thinking will go for Ron Paul. People who are smarter, who are more moderate, they will go for Huntsman. And people who want independence and democratic leaning people will go for Huntsman. And then really conservative people, they have Gingrich and Santram to choose from, so it will be split between those two. I don't think Perry will do well here, so it will be split between Gingrich and Santorum. Santorum will probably pick up more, but still it won't be good enough. So my feeling is, overall, he will have a decent margin over number 2. Unlike in Iowa, this will be a clearer victory. So he will actually do quite well. So tomorrow's primary is good for him, and even the next South Carolina, Florida seem good for him. But slowly something will happen, and after March 12, slowly things will drag on, and slowly he will start to take some heat and start to look unconvincing, start to have some challenge, credible challenge from one candidate instead of all these candidates. He is basically being saved by the presence of so many conservatives for splitting the conservative vote. Otherwise he would have been in trouble. Conservatives still probably hate him. So this is basically, we don't have time to do other things, so we'll take up some charts next class. So we'll end the class. And what I suggest is, not just for politics, in general, so the Sudarshan Chakra is a powerful technique. So do experiment with it.
So only variation is from the time entry chart of that dasha. Dasha, we count the houses. And
we take the Lagna, Moon and Sun in the Dasha Pravesh Chakra, Antardasha Pravesh Chakra, and for the next level, you take that as the seed and you progress, instead of doing it in the natal chart. So that's the only difference. And that seems to work much better than the normal way. So, with that I will end the class. Om Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Yavad Bhumandale Sanatana Dharma Vantatu Uddeshata Bhartakhande. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.